Project
Stories.
Stories. Hey, you're in for a treat because we are working on a song,
We're
a theme
working
song,
on a theme song.
so that we can welcome you to our video series in song.
In song, right?
Yes.
Yes.
There's
because
nothing-
music is part of our family.
It truly is.
It is.
We'll have
and it goes way, way back.
Yeah, and we'll do a whole
on both sides of my
We'll do
family.
a whole video on that. Maybe that's our debut of the song.
A debut of the song.
Yeah,
probably going to be the top 20 someday.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, let's dive into our second topic for today, which are the places that are important to our lineage and to you.
Well, our lineage is really pretty much Scandinavian. My grandfather, who is Sven Peter Hallberg, was born in Sweden, and then he went into the service in Norway. So he actually had his first wife, who died, was probably Swedish or Norwegian. I'm not sure which she was. But then he married, of course, Anna, who was Norwegian.
Mm-hmm.
On my dad's side, my dad was pretty much all English. And I've done ancestry on him and gotten back to the 1400s.
Wow.
So they came from the original, I think families were born in the northern part of England.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple of crests, so they weren't all poor beggars and gypsies.
They weren't all Chapmans.
Yeah. Well, I think the beggars came first. Maybe they moved up.
Yeah,
I'm not sure.
Hope.
We're sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the Chapmans came over, and quite early on in the history of the United States, and we're in Connecticut, which is, in fact, I'd love to go back to Connecticut sometime because I think there's a few places, graves, that we could find them. Oh, yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
It's so wild that we lived there for 18 years. And
I know. Yeah. And and then they moved across. There was some people from Iowa, and then, of course, he ended up in Minneapolis.
Yeah. So really it's English, Norwegian, and Swedish.
Right.
Those are the three.
And my dad always has some Dutch also in that history. But, basically English.
Yeah. And what is I know that my dad has like a favorite tidbit about your ancestry. Do you remember what that is?
Well, that when I did Ancestry, I found out that I was 97% Neanderthal.
Wait, 97%?
Yeah. For all the people in 23andMe, this was 23andMe, that had their data in 23andMe, I was in the 97th percentile for Neanderthal.
Oh, wow.
So, of course, my son Ryan decided to talk about, the hair on my back, how long my front arms are, and they dragged on the floor.
Oh my God. You know what? We're a special group, really.
We really are.
Yeah. Well, so after our ancestors immigrated from these places, tell us about all the places that you've lived and where your favorite was as a child and your favorite as an adult.
Well, of course, I grew up for the first 6-7 years in Minneapolis, and we were poor at that time, so we were just going from house to house. And but then we moved to Lancaster, which was my favorite place. I'd love to go back sometime because it's the cutest little town you ever saw. It's a county seat, so there's a big courthouse in the middle of the town, and then all the stores are around the county seat, the way they always are. And it was a little farming village. It was
And what state again?
That's Wisconsin. It was southern Wisconsin. So it was a lot different than northern Wisconsin, where I ended up. But yeah, I love that place. But I liked when then I went to Superior and I graduated from high school and then college there, and then I went. And my first teaching job was in the Minneapolis public school system. When I was 22, I was hired by the Minneapolis school system. So that was such a big deal for me. I
Yeah.
think I made 4,000 a year.
As a
A
teacher.
year as a teacher. I just thought I'd hit the jackpot.
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe that?
That's it. That's hard to believe. So what was your favorite? So your favorite as a child was Lancaster.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Lancaster. Of course, then I moved from Minneapolis to LA, from LA to Seattle, and then I've been in lots of different places in Seattle.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
What's your favorite as an adult? Your favorite place you've lived?
probably Whidbey Island. I was there
Yeah.
for over 30 years, and I taught there. I was a principal there, and it's just I get off the ferry and I think I'm home. I just
Yeah.
you just have that feeling I'm home. Um, and I lived in one, two, three, four, five houses on Whidbey
Whidbey
Island.
Wow.
So I've always been a vagabond.
What do you mean by that?
I I I've always moved.
Oh, okay. Don't want
And
to
it
stay
wasn't
in one
because the
place.
police were after me either.
Oh, sure. Likely story.
Yeah, no, I did. I lived in a lot of places on South Whidbey, and I loved that. I loved
Yeah.
teaching, and I loved being a principal there.
Yeah.
I was a principal of a middle school there, and I loved the middle school kids. I really did. Nobody likes middle school kids. But I thought
I just had middle school camp, and the middle school kids are sweeter than.
they really are.
Yeah, I think they're sweet. But
That's what I saw too.
Yeah, but and the high schoolers are just getting a little bit of that meanness, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so what do you think is the most meaningful place in your life? Or maybe two?
Hmm. Oh, the most meaningful place in my life probably was in Lancaster, just because after my dad died, I had that family kind of took me in. And I saw so much kindness in that. Some communities really, when there's things that happen to families, kind of come together and help each other. And that's what I saw. I mean, we had a lot of people that really helped us out
Yeah.
after my dad died. So I think I saw kindness, compassion there.
Yeah.
Kind of a society that was open, and so I really it was open, but there wasn't a lot of different people there. That's
Yeah,
for sure. I
yeah.
mean, we didn't have different.
There wasn't much diversity.
No, not too much diversity, but there was. It was a great place, and then
Yeah.
in the summertime we had a little place, kind of like 3 blocks from our house, that we could take we got on our bikes and we swam every day. We had a nice pool, a community pool. It took $1 a season for us to swim. We went there 3 times a day. I mean,
Yeah.
we learned how to swim, we learned how to dive. All 3 of us were really good swimmers
Yeah.
because we did it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting. We have so many swimmers in our family.
I know.
Were your children big swimmers?
Yeah, they all were. Because when we lived in Kingsgate, on the east side of Seattle, we had a pool the same way, and the kids
Oh.
went there
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, they were all good swimmers. When we moved from Lancaster to Superior, there was a swimming contest, and the kids in Superior really didn't know how to swim very well because Lake Superior is like 50 degrees.
Yeah,
It never
yeah.
changes. It is freezing.
Yeah. You're not
So
going
they
to
never,
swim.
and they didn't, they just didn't have all the things that we had down in Lancaster. So all 3 of us had our our name in the paper because we won all this.
Wait, you
Because we
and your two siblings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We all won prizes because, there was this big thing that we got involved in.
Yeah.
And it was so funny. And
That
I
is
was,
like what were the prize, like fastest
yeah.
something, or
Well,
like
it was
best dive?
probably backstroke, breaststroke,
Yeah.
all the things that they used to do.
Yeah, I didn't know that you were a swimmer.
Oh,
Were you ever on the
yeah.
swim team or anything?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got my the life-saving thing that you
Yeah, the
get, the
lifeguard.
badge, the junior life-saving badge.
Oh, I don't think that is the same anymore.
No, I'm sure it isn't. All I remember is it was so hard because there was a 10-pound weight and it was 10 feet down and you had to go down and bring it back up.
Wow.
And I was probably, I was really skinny and little.
Yeah.
That
was hard.
tough.
Wow. Yeah, that wasn't a part of the more modern lifeguard training that
No.
we do.
No.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I didn't know that. And so that was a reason why Lancaster was special, was the pool.
Yeah.
And,
We just did everything.
Yeah.
We could, we had lots of time to just be kids,
yeah.
which was great.
Yeah. Anything else that you want to mention about places that you've lived, important places in your life?
Well, moving from Minneapolis, we were a young married couple, and all three kids had been born in Minneapolis, and we moved to L.A.,
Los Angeles.
Los Angeles, and Denise was probably 2 or 3. No, she was 2 or 3 at the time when we moved, and so I could get somebody. And the two boys had just gone to school, and I could get somebody to watch Denise.
Mhm.
And so I thought, well, I'm just going to put my name in for subbing.
Mhm.
So I went to the Los Angeles School District and I signed up to be a substitute teacher. I said, I don't know LA very well, so I don't know if I want to drive very far. Could I just do this neighborhood? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, you can do that.
Yeah.
I never saw that neighborhood at all.
Oh.
They sent me to Watts.
Where's that?
Watts in LA is where the big you don't know this, but in the 60s they had Watts riots. And I was there
Wow.
during the Watts riots.
Yeah.
WATTS Watts. And they were all black schools
Mm-hmm.
and a few Latino schools.
Mm-hmm.
But I never went to another school. I was always there.
Yeah.
And I could work maybe once a week, twice a week. And when you worked in a situation like Minneapolis, which was, the kids were all, really well mannered and they could read and they could write at fourth. I had a fourth grade class. They could read, they could write, they just could do a lot of things because they had the whole winter that they stayed inside and worked on their studies. Well, in LA, that they were outside all day long, those kids. So what I saw there is kids that really were quite behind the other kids from Minneapolis. But where they really were great is they could do cartwheels and flips all across the playground.
Yeah.
Their dexterity and their strength.
Yeah.
The girls could do these wonderful rope tricks.
Yeah.
With
the
jump rope.
Yeah.
With 2 jump ropes.
Yeah.
And they had these sing-songs that they all knew. It was so much fun to see how really how wonderful those kids were.
Yeah, how were you accepted as like a white substitute?
I never had any problems. I don't know. I was just always. One time I remember being in a bus that took us to the zoo, and the teacher couldn't come that day, so I had to take this. And there was like 3 other classrooms. Everybody in the bus was black, and I was white.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody seemed to have a problem with it, and I didn't have a problem with it at all.
Yeah.
And I was really well accepted.
Yeah, you didn't feel any like different.
No.
Being there.
No. They were very
open to you.
Yeah, they're very, very open to me. So, and I would come home crying a lot because, the kids didn't have any paper and they didn't have any pencils and everything was locked up in the room. I mean, it was a whole huge, completely different society or different
like experience
that I had never been involved in. When you come from Minneapolis and and you're white and you really just have a lot of advantages that I don't think a lot of people have. And then and you see that. And what I saw too is kids that had teeth problems. Their teeth were bad because they were coming in on top of each other and a lot of sores. And I saw things I'd never seen before, ever.
Yeah.
And it just made me realize the difference in how we treat different people.
Yeah. People of color and
yeah.
Well, and I think that probably really, I think experiences like that where I'm so lucky I've had a couple of like being the minority in a situation, right? Like there's more people that are different. Hi, Chappie. And I feel like that is such a lesson in like empathy.
Yeah.
When you're seeing that and to be accepted in it and a part of it that it changes how you approach the rest of the world.
Right.
When you can like really fully understand like the like structural racism and seeing it in action like that. You know? Yeah.
One story that I'll never forget, you always remember the things where you really screwed up.
Yeah.
Well, one time I really screwed up.
What'd you do?
So I went to this school, and I mean, these were huge schools. And I went to this school, and the principal sat me down and said, "I'm giving you the keys. You're in a schoolroom that's kind of out from the main rooms, but this is the keys for everything, but you can't lose them. You can't lose these keys because we have to rekey everything if you lose them."
Uh-oh.
So what did I do? I lost them. I came to the end of the day, and I'm thinking,
did you ever find them?
Oh, no. I didn't find them. I was a substitute. Hey. I mean, they never called me back, of course.
I was that bimbo that lost the keys.
I had to go to this principal and say, "I can't find my keys. I looked everywhere. I can't find my keys." I mean, talk about a loser.
No.
Oh, my God.
Shit happens. But that does suck when you're coming from the outside and then make a royal mess up.
Oh, yeah. That was the time I really cried all the way home. Oh my God, I felt so bad.
I'm glad to hear that crying over work is a universal experience.
I guess. I mean, that's where you learn your lessons.
Yeah, I guess so.
The only way I made it, because they weren't really good lesson plans and they didn't have a lot of stuff to do, is I put together a box and I carried it everywhere I was. He wants to be in the video.
Yeah.
That's my grand dog, Chappie. Anyway, so I found a box and I put all my stuff. I brought crayons, I put scissors, I brought pencils and paper and games and whatever in this box. And then I adapted it to wherever I went. Because you could do that. Bingo, the bingos that you could play with kids and all that stuff. And so when I would come, I had my own curriculum.
Oh, nice.
So
in case...
I didn't have to worry about. So, I mean, I had a lot of principals that really wanted me to work full time because when they come in the classroom, everything was okay.
Yeah,
because they were busy.
Yeah,
they really were busy.
Well,
not that I was teaching them anything, but anyway, it was, it it was
Yeah.
it was a great. I think that experience taught me more than
Hmm.
any experience I'd had. I'd been teaching. I've been, I taught for like 20 years, and I was 10 years as a principal.
Yeah. And that one taught you the most.
Mm-hmm.
Um, just got locked out of our
Oh,
computer for a second, but we're still filming.
oh, okay.
And yeah, well, I'm glad to hear about kind of that. It sounds like a really important place and time that you
Yeah.
like got to inhabit and kind of had that like real blessing of that experience of
Yeah.
going to schools
Yeah.
and being around really different people.
Right.
'Cause
Right.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
the real privilege of getting to travel
Right.
and getting to experience is being
Yeah.
around different people. Because if you're always around
Yeah.
the people who speak
You
your
know,
language,
I think as we grow up too, we're so naive.
well, yeah,
I mean, it just takes a lot of experiences in your lifetime to kind of grasp
hmm
what's happening, and look at it, without judgments.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, it was
Well,
a
yeah,
very learning experience for me.
yeah. Well, I love that. Thank you for sharing that, and we'll put a wrap on this places
All right.
chapter,
All right.
and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.